Hey, everybody. That is Gary Smith. That is Kaz Kenny.
Kapow!
And I am Eddie Bramble, and this is episode 17
Woo!
of the Blackwaters Edge podcast. Kaz, why don't you start us off with this week's fishing report?
Well, let me tell you, there's not much to report. It's probably the worst fishing report I've given this year. Minimal catches over the weekend. You know, the tide just wasn't cooperating. The winds were just, the tide was sucked out so bad a couple of days. It was just ridiculous. I just think the fish got drawn out. Water temperature wasn't staying very stable, and we just didn't have enough sun come through to make the conditions right. You know what I mean?
It was a beautiful weekend.
It was. Up until that, we were doing pretty good catching some fish, Gary. We were catching some yellow perch, we were catching a few white perch started showing up. A lot of bullheads, a lot of white cats, a ton of carp laying in there. You can, it's funny because you cast out, and as your lures fall, and you think you're getting a bite, but it's actually the fish hitting that line as it's falling. It kind of threw me a curveball once or twice. I sat threw out cast as it was sinking. I felt that, and I set the hook real quick. I'm like, oh, man, that thing bit as soon as it hit the water. I threw back out and did it again. I said, oh, man, I think I found him, man. Every time I hit the water, I can feel him biting it. Third cast, I'm like, nah, Gary, I'm pretty sure it's just the carp bumping my line.
And then you reel in fast enough that your line doesn't get hung on the bottom and you jig one.
Right.
I jigged a couple of
What
them.
have we always said? If the carp are there, the snakehead are not.
Nah.
So
I'm still trying to figure out that correlation. You know, why they just don't like them stinky carp very much. You know?
I don't know, but
I think it's
true.
because they can't see well and they mud up the bottom when the carp are in there.
Hey,
That's a good point.
thought.
Yeah.
So that's really where we are pretty much with fishing. I've heard some stuff up the bay. I've heard Gray's Run's got a few fish there, a lot of males, not a lot of really big fish, not much over 12. I've heard a lot of 10, 11-inch fish. Y Mills are seeing a few yellow perch there, none majorly yet. I did talk to some guys up there around Chester, and they're not seeing much up there either. So I did hear Greensboro did have some yellow perch there that showed up last week. Whether they're still there or not, this thing you got to understand about the perch. You know, when they come up, they don't go back. So it's not like they come up, it gets cold, and they leave. It just gets cold. They're still there, and they're just not eating. You know what I mean? It's not comfortable conditions for them. So hang in there. It's coming. It's right around the corner. I'm antsy just as everybody else is.
Everybody is.
So yeah, man, let's get ready and do it. Like I said, get them rods greased up, freshened up, get the line re-spooled, make sure your guides are clean, take a Q-tip, go through them, make sure you ain't got no nicks in it or anything like that. Preventative maintenance is the best. So enjoy.
All right, so this week we've got Don from Autumn Sky here. Don, how you doing, man?
How you doing?
Good. So tell us about yourself.
I own Autumn Sky Outfitters. I'm from White Marsh, Maryland. Shops in Hartford County, Maryland. Been shooting a bow since I've been 10 years old, and everybody's dream is, hey, I want to make a living shooting a bow. Well, not quite the way I seen it, but I'm making a living
quite the way you think.
I'm making a living selling bows. So
there you go.
Yeah. It's a fun job. I don't hate getting up every morning going to work. Hell, half the time I get up and go to work before I need to be there.
That's right.
So wife gives me hell that, why are you always at the shop? There's always something to do.
Oh, yeah. You don't tell me. I know exactly
I
what
told
you're
them boys
talking
work for me were staring, what are you doing? I nothing to do. I'm like, well, you could be making season, you could be making bags, you could be doing something. There's something to do.
There's always something to do.
You know?
Always something to do.
So how long have you been doing Autumn Sky?
I've been working there. Shop's been there for a little over 20 years. The shop started back, it's like 97. I've been there for about the last 7, and then I bought it 3 years ago.
Okay.
The old owner, he kind of had another child. He was going to stay at home on the farm with the kid, and we've always talked about opening another shop or me buying this shop. And I had another business at the time. I had a lawn care business. My brother did all the cutting and all while I managed Autumn Sky. He was in a bad accident, totaled all our equipment, and it was like the guy that hit us had $15,000 liability insurance. And I just looked at my wife. I'm like, I'm not rebuilding. So if we're ever gonna do anything with Gus, the old owner, now's the time to do it. And it took us about 1 year to 2 years to get it done, but we did it, and it's 365 days a year, 24 hours a day.
Exactly right.
And there's no regrets.
No. I like I said, I don't have a hobby no more, but I have an awesome business job. I get great people. I've had kids that were 10 years old that used to started coming in the shop when I started working there, and now, they're bigger than I am, and it's just cool to see these kids grow up and some of the stuff they've done, and hey, Mr. Don, look what I shot this year. I mean, these kids are killing some monster deer.
Man, it's crazy.
I think that's what it's all about. You know what I mean? I think even for you, people, you know,
Oh, yeah,
the,
exactly.
the people that we cross paths with in the stores, you know.
The things he's saying, it's just like looking in the mirror right
I
now.
know, I know.
It's hearing myself talk.
It's good for me because it reinforces me when I want to look at Eddie and be like, man, come on, dude. You really can't just get me an hour to come out here and relax for an hour, man?
Nope.
You know, I get it.
You got to schedule it 3 weeks in advance just to get that hour.
And it's always subject to change.
Exactly.
And,
Yep.
you know, it's the people. I've met, like I said, great people. Met some celebrities. Nick Markakis used to play for the Orioles.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's a real good customer of ours.
No kidding.
Good.
I just found out, I don't know if I should say it, but I heard that he's moving to Georgia, back to Atlanta. That's where he's originally from.
Mhm.
But, you know.
Well, he's still playing for the Braves.
He's still
so.
playing for the Braves, but he still had his house here. His kids were all in school here and all. So, you know, he stayed true, and he didn't want to go. But I think he's reaching towards the end of the career, and he's looking for the future.
Right.
Matter of fact, the last time he was in, he's like, hey, what do you think about starting another store? And I'm like, yeah, how am I supposed to be at two places? You know,
He's trying to take you down to Georgia.
well, no, this was here out off the 83 corridor. He wanted to do it, and I was like, and I started thinking, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, he's moving now. I was like, yeah, it might have been my shop, but you know, I don't know. That's the right thing to do right now is to open another shop, maybe a bigger shop if that ever comes.
Unless you increase the hours on
Eddie,
the day.
Eddie, you looking in the mirror again or what? I see you over there scratching your head.
No, I mean, our shop's about 6,500 square feet. Yeah. We have a 20-yard indoor range with about 12 lanes. I would like to have indoor 3D. We do the kayaks. That takes up a lot of room. We're always constantly switching displays, you know, whether it's waterfowl to kayaks to turkey to, you know, our fishing department now is pretty much permanent.
And that changed what after a little conversation with me
Oh,
last year, huh?
Yeah, last year. we met about a year. As a matter of fact, it's almost been a year, end of March at Hartford County. And it's, you know, I figured about 16,000 square feet would do me good. But
That's a nice shop.
oh yeah,
That's a big
but
place.
it's a lot of inventory and a lot of time. It takes time. So
How so I know you like to hunt and I know you don't get to hunt as much anymore. But let's talk about some of your hunting. You said you fell in love with a bow at 10 years old. What made you fall in love with a bow at 10 years old? Let us know.
actually, at 10 years old, I started tournament shooting.
Oh.
Didn't even hunt. Didn't even hunt. My parents were divorced, like most kids, and my dad started shooting tournaments on the weekend. And when I got old enough, he got me a bow. And next thing I know, I'm shooting a bow at 10, and 50-some state championships later. Some
I know. You got some credentials, I will say that.
Yeah, I do.
you don't have to be humble, man. Come on.
No, I mean, I look back on it, and I realized this a couple years ago. Like I said, there were 50 state championships, third at the indoor worlds, 15th in the country with the Olympic recurve. I mean, I was shooting with the guys from the Olympic team, competing against them. But my biggest thing was 13, 14, 15. I was the head coach for the Navy Wounded Warrior team, for the archery team.
How about that? That's big stuff.
I got to travel the U.S. doing that. Me and my wife got to go to Hawaii for the trials. I mean, we've met some really cool individuals. Some of them have passed, but some of them I'm still in touch with. And you could take every one of them state championships, every one of them trophies away. That would probably be the thing I'm proudest about. That meant the most to me, because when you have a guy that comes up to you, and you know he's been in the service, and this one particular guy, John, we became real good friends. John DeSalle, he's from Michigan, and then Mike Detney. Mike passed away. They were kind of real good buddies, and Mike passed away, I want to say 3 years ago. But the first year I coached, John came up to me at the end, and he's a full-grown man. And he literally said, he goes, Coach, he goes, you do not know what this means to me. And he literally broke out in tears. And ever since then, me and him have been, I mean, we still talk. He just went to the Vegas. I mean, he's retired now. He just competed out in Vegas. I was supposed to go, but some stuff came up where I didn't. But I think next year I'll make the trip so we can, reunite. And, it comes down to when I was younger, somebody helped me.
Right.
And now it's my turn to help somebody.
Right.
And I'm, like I said, 10, I shot my first deer with a shotgun, I want to say at 15. And I shot a few deer when I was younger with the shotgun or a rifle. Didn't really shoot my first deer with a bow until about 6 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And people.
I would never thought that.
Well, I mean, I didn't really get into the bow hunting part of it when I was younger
Right.
because I was always shooting targets 50,
Right.
60, out to 100 yards.
Wow.
So what's a deer at 20
Wow.
yards?
Wow. 100 yards, man. I mean,
When
that's
you're
a
shooting competition,
shot, man.
hunting's a different world.
Right. So, but now it's more me just getting out of the shop and enjoying it. I mean, it's, the whole time I'm in there, I'm still thinking about the shop. I'm thinking about what I can do to the shop.
Right.
But it's still cool. I've got to go on some cool hunts with some manufacturers. And then I'm getting ready to go on a pretty cool hunt coming up too.
I've seen some people that, in a rifle hunting do the exact opposite. They're out, they're deer hunters, are doing that, and then all of a sudden they get in the competition and then they're full blown. I think one of the biggest things that just stood out to me about everything that you just shared with us is the emotional connection that we make as outdoorsmen. Mm-hmm. People don't seem to understand that, we're on, like when I meet another outdoorsman, I talk to him. I mean, we're all like in that same emotional platform, so to say. You know what I'm trying to say? Like we meet a friend, we become attached, and that's what it's about. We grow together. I mean, that's what I hear you talking about, growing together. So that was really cool. I like it.
Really, I mean, that's human nature. It really, I mean, if you talk to any retired athlete, what's the one thing they miss? It's the locker room.
And you hit the other nail on the head too. Helping people.
Yeah,
Helping people. That's gone today, man.
Yep.
that Wounded Warrior thing, man, that's starring your crown, dude.
Absolutely.
And the funny story about it was when I was I was coaching over at APG. I was doing
You got some deer in there, don't they?
Oh yeah.
God.
I was doing I don't know what you want to call it, like a veterans archery class on a Thursday morning through MedStar Health. And they're like, MedStar Health contact me. I'm a US level 3 coach. They said, hey, you meet our requirements. Would you like to do this program? We're going to pay you X amount of money. Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't ask. I just want to teach people how to shoot a bow. So the woman that was in charge of that, she was a sitting volleyball coach for the Wounded Warrior team. Position came over and she goes, hey, I got something you might be interested in. Would you be interested in doing? Heck yeah, I'm in. And
Cool.
I go to the first camp, come home. I get a check in the mail. I open the check up. I'm like, this is really nice. I'm even get paid to do that.
That's right.
So, it's not about the money. I mean, that stuff it's not something not everybody gets to do.
I think the biggest reward comes within ourselves when we do stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like it's again, the emotional connection has its own reward to each individual. You know what I mean?
It's like taking a kid.
Yeah.
100%.
Nothing like it.
Kind of like all of us too. He's sitting here right here. Like I didn't know Eddie on like any kind of emotional level, and I didn't know you on any kind of emotional level. Say 8 years ago. You know what I mean?
5 years ago.
5 years ago. Yeah. I mean, I knew you. I mean, I wasn't sure if we liked each other, but we knew each other.
We're talking about kids.
All right, man. Let's get hard again. All right, I'm sorry.
Oh man. So
You had to bring it up, man.
I love this place.
So Don, lost my train of thought now.
So Don,
what
let's talk about the first deer that you shot. Do you remember that hunt?
First deer that I shot was on Lover's Lane down on the shore. I was with my dad. Shotgun season. It was a doe. She comes walking in. I shot her. Shot her high, spined her. And that thing just sat there and made the god-awful sound.
Yeah.
That's
I
the worst.
didn't know what to do. I was in my stand. I unloaded the shotgun. It's still screaming. My dad come over. He's like, "What in the hell are you doing?" And he's like, and he walks up and he put finishes it off.
Let me just come back in on you on that. You just made me think about my very first deer I ever killed. I was with my cousin Ricky, and I had a crop damage permit on the Norman Hooker's farm in Hartford County. Over there, I'm trying to remember the name of the road right there, Laurel Bush Road, maybe it was. So I had a crop damage permit there, and I'd never killed a deer. And I met him in the mulch business, and he knew I hadn't killed a deer. And he said, "You can come kill one in August." I said, "In August?" I said, "I thought you couldn't kill them until it's a little cooler." He's like, "Nah, we got crop damage." So long story short, we're sitting in this wagon. This little deer comes up top of the hill, and my cousin's like, "Just put the crosshair on its shoulder, okay? Just pull the trigger and take a breath." And like before he's even done, I squeezed the trigger. So out of nowhere, this mom comes running across top of the hill and goes down chasing the baby that I just shot down the hill. We're running up there, and Ricky's like, shoot the mom, shoot the mom. I'm like, no. And he said, well, give me the gun, I'll shoot it. By that time, she was already gone. Same thing, man. That little deer was down there doing a little thing, and I'm like, man, no, I want to take it home now. You know, so that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
So archery-wise, you know, we know what was your first bow kill?
Little 6-point. Shot that on the farm. I still hunt today. Shot it with a prime defy bow, 20-yard shot. I mean, it's funny. It's literally the racks like that, and I was so proud of it. Now I look back and I'm like, why did I shoot that thing? But yeah, it was my first bow kill.
Gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
That's right. That's what your first is supposed to be. If your first one's a giant, it just ruins you for the rest of
It
your life.
doesn't matter how small it is, it's still your biggest one.
That's exactly right.
And now I've gotten a lot more pickier. I've shot last 3 years. Yeah, the last 3 years I've shot 3 nice bucks that are two of them are mounted. One's being mounted now. Got my first velvet buck this year.
There you
on
go.
7 point. That
There
was
you go.
nice. But even hunting that, that it's cool. But you know, everybody puts a score on a deer nowadays.
I
That's
agree.
exactly
I
right.
agree.
I hate it.
I agree.
I think it's the worst thing for the industry.
I'll put a little pepper on it myself.
I agree.
Well,
You look at
me
some of the
too.
posts on places, you know.
Yeah,
and, you know,
Guys get on Facebook and,
Yeah.
and rag on a little, a young kid for
8-year-old kid,
for
right.
shooting a
Right.
basket 8 or whatever.
Right.
But if I shoot something, great. If not, so be it. It's more like you said before, helping people. When my daughter shot her first one, we actually.
Yeah, let's hear that story.
Oh,
Her
her
must be good.
her junior year of high school, and she played club lacrosse. We were playing up in Downingtown on Saturday. They went up there. It rained all day long.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and they went undefeated that day, so they were doing good in the tournament. We had to rush home. It was homecoming dance that night. Got her home in time. Did the pictures. She went to homecoming. Got up 6 o'clock next morning. Back up. Played in the championship game. Won the championship game. We were back on our way back home by 12. It was a Sunday hunt in Hartford County that day, and I was like, "Hey, we could probably make it in a tree stand." She's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it." Swung by the shop, got her clothes, because I always keep all her clothes at the shop. My
Right.
clothes, her clothes, bows, and all that. The farm's only 10 minutes from the shop. So we go back there. She's all sweaty. I said, "Look, go in the bathroom, take field wipes. Just take a bath in them."
Right.
Yeah. So we get to the farm. We get up in the stand. And she's wore out. She's a goalie.
Right.
She's
Oh,
wore
wow.
So she's tough though.
Oh,
She's tough. You ain't kidding. She's a goalie. She's tough.
she went out for a boys' team. That's how tough she is.
Shoo.
So we get cleaned up. We get to the farm. We're sitting there, and we ain't seeing nothing. We seen one little one where it looked like a chihuahua. And she's like, "If this is the only deer we see, God help me." And I was like, "Ken's, just relax." Her name's Mackenzie. I call her Ken's. I said, "Just relax." So it's getting dark. And I hear her. She's going, 1. She's counting. I'm like, and I look over at her. We're in a double stand. I look over at her. She's counting the geese flying overhead. And I'm like, and I'd look back down at the spot. I was like, "Ken's, don't move. There's a deer." She looks down. There's a pretty big doe. I was like, "Okay." I said, "Get ready." She was shooting a crossbow. Because I feel with a kid, their first one should be with a crossbow because you don't know how they're going to act.
Yep.
You don't know if they're going to freak out. I mean, and let's face it, you're going to put a better shot most likely with a crossbow than a compound just starting out.
100%.
I was like,
Good
all right.
info.
I was like, all right, look, put your crosshairs on right behind the front shoulder. Top crosshair, get ready, squeeze the trigger. I was like, you ready? Whack! I'm like, dropped it. I was like, I'm all excited. She's like, okay. So, I mean, it was a pretty cool weekend. Yeah, that was cool.
That's a busy weekend.
Yeah, it was. It was.
And you can't say she wasn't a warrior for pulling through like that after all that. You know?
Now trying to get her out in the tree stand's a little different. Oh, I got stuff to do. And then I hear, well, you never take me hunting. Well, every time I ask you to go hunting, you got stuff to do. Those moments there was one night where me and her doubled up in the stand. She shot one, and I shot one. She shot a 7-point, and then I ended up shooting a doe. And then just last year, I did. There's a group called No Persons Left Behind. It's a veterans program, and we sponsor some of the stuff they do for a bull roast out at Martin's Eastwind. And he called me and said, "Hey, you want to do a hunt with us?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do a hunt." So I go there, and this morning they hooked me up with this veteran. And they supply everything for him. We climb up in the stand, and guy's pretty cool. He's talking about, Hillary and this and that. Them guys just go off on their political rants, and we're sitting there. I was like, "Don't move. There's a deer." And he's like, "It's a small one. I don't want to shoot it." I'm like, "Okay. I mean, I'm not going to fault you for that." And then we're sitting there a little while later. We heard a couple gunshots, and here come one walking from the right to the left. I said, "There's the one." It was a spike. I was like, "There's one." He goes, "I'm going to shoot that one." Sounds good with me. And he dropped it in its tracks. But, those kind of moments there is what I enjoy. Because let's face it, when you shoot a deer, you shoot any kind of animal, that's when all the work starts.
Yep, right. Exactly right.
It's,
Got a lot of respect for you, man, for the stuff you're telling us about.
Absolutely.
What you do. You know what I mean?
It's good stuff.
So what other kinds of animals have you shot with a bow?
Shot hogs, javelina, whitetail. Hopefully in May I'll shoot a bear. Going bear hunting in New Brunswick.
And
That's nice.
you were telling us before we started the show that your favorite deer that you would want to hunt is what?
Axis deer.
Axis deer.
That will be next year.
But you haven't been sick of deer hunting yet.
Nope.
We're gonna have to change that.
Yeah,
well, like we talked before too, is that time of year it's
tough.
It's
for you and me.
It's
both,
real
yep.
tough. I'm sitting there at the shop and I got cell cameras out and I'm getting pictures of deer and I'm like, and I got a store full of people and it's like, oh, can't go. But it's just about being out there in the woods.
100%.
That's what I tell a lot of people, man. There's many days there's more days than not that I go hunting that I don't see anything, and just being in that peaceful setting and like fishing, I was talking to a guy the other day right there in Key West. Like, yeah, man, I wasted a whole trip coming down here today. I looked over at him. I says, man, come here for a minute, bud. And he says, what do you want? I put my arm around him. I says, you see them two bald eagles flying up there, man? I said, isn't that beautiful? I said, look at all them snow geese over there getting up off the water, man. You hear that, man? Isn't that just beautiful to hear that, man? I said, I'm sorry you drove 2 hours, didn't get nothing out of your day, but let me tell you what, I sure as heck got a lot out of my day, brother. Yeah, and he turned to me and he looked at me and he went, you know what, dude, you're right, man. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. I mean, it was even like that when I did a lot of bass fishing, TBF, Maryland bass, all that kind of stuff. And it was more about just being out on the water, get a little bit of time, just grab the boat and go. And, I'm hoping to do that a little bit more with the kayak this year. So.
I think you're going to be doing a little more fishing this year, and I think you're going to get a lot more involved with snakeheads from what I see coming. And before we start getting into snakeheads with you, I heard a little rumor around town that Gary lit into a pretty big hog.
Oh, yeah. Decent size hog.
A big hog.
Yeah.
And I ain't talking about a hog bass.
It wasn't a hog bass.
And it wasn't no dragon snakehead.
No.
Gary, tell us about your little trip you went on.
Well, my friend Brian Hubbard, his brother Kenny, and another contractor, Mike Willoughby, went down to South Carolina this last weekend, Anderson, South Carolina, hunted with Mr. Nick Farr at SouthCarolinaHunts.com. Had a great place, had a great time, nice facility to stay in. He fed us, cooked for us, so we just really had a good time.
Food good?
And, excellent. Yeah, everything. Accommodations were great. Just like I sent him a text when I got back home and just said, thanks for that Southern hospitality. There's nothing like it in the world, no matter where you go. But saw some hogs myself Saturday morning, but they just came running in and kept right on going. And then Saturday evening, I'm sitting there and I had a bunch of deer come out. It was 4 of them, and they hung out for probably 45 minutes. And then their ears perked up, and they kept looking to my left and looking to my left. And there's a little new planted pine forest there, and the trees are only about 2 feet tall. And I could hear some twigs breaking, then I heard a little grunt. So they took off after that, and I could hear him every once in a while. He just moved around a little bit, and nothing. And then literally when he walked in, it was all over in about a minute. But I got it on video.
I know, and I'm going to get to do all the voiceover on it, so it's going to be.
Yes,
what do you mean, no?
You're not touching the voiceover.
the boom will be cast.
Hey, yeah, you could put the kapow in there instead of the boom.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because I didn't realize, I didn't really look. Brian set the hunt up, and I didn't even go online and look at it. I've been with him before and trusted him. We just went. But what I didn't know is we were going to be in tents, in blinds. So there wasn't any wood, and I took my camera arm screws into a tree or a piece of wood or whatever, and it's kind of flexible and you can bend it where you want. Well, when I got there's nothing to screw into, so I didn't have anything but a shooting stick. So I basically bent it around the shooting stick. And the only problem with that was once you get the camera set where you want, every time you move the gun, it vibrates a little bit. So when you see it on our video, you'll see it vibrate. And that's when I reached up and zoomed them in, and then you see it vibrate, and then the gun goes off. And look for the barrel in the corner, because you can see the barrel.
I was gonna say, I got
right
a little
in the corner of
preview,
the
and you can
film.
see
So
that you can see that little gray barrel there.
we're gonna have that on like Saturday or probably Monday,
Yeah.
because I'm going all day tomorrow, so it'll probably be Monday before we get it online.
Yeah, but we're gonna have that whole video online for everybody to see.
Wait a minute, where are you going tomorrow?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Maryland, all the guides know, I'm sure, but Maryland came out with a freshwater fishing guides license last year. And they also have a limited saltwater fishing license, which is basically the same thing. It just allows you to do fish in some brackish water. And in the guidelines for it, it said that propulsion for kayaks or canoes had to be paddle or oar. Well, there's a lot of people that have pedal kayaks. So if you have a pedal kayak and it's a Hobie, say, with the oars underneath of it, I can take you. But if you have a Jackson or some of the other brands, a new canoe, I think it's got one now that have a prop on the back of them, we can't take you because it's a prop. It's not an oar.
Right.
So I brought it up to Mr. John and Matt's, our representative last year, and told him, really, besides the fact that it isn't fair, it's not ADA compliant. Anybody that has any kind of physical disability could use one, but they can't the way the law is written. So they put a bill in to change it. And I went up Tuesday and testified, and Kaz and I and Chris Leslie are going up tomorrow to testify at the House. And a real good response Tuesday at the bill. DNR was there and said they totally agreed and supported it wholeheartedly. So
I think it's a no-brainer. I mean,
Yeah,
you're not under mechanical power, and I think
the
that's
technology
the thing
wasn't there.
Right.
Available as much as it is now. And it's like I told them there, if you had the option of rowing or paddling for 8 miles or pedaling for 8 miles, 99% of the people are going to want to pedal. Because, we all ride bikes, not too many of us row for a living.
I think the key there is that it's still man-powered and not by a motor. And
right, that's what
that's
the law. They're changing it from oar or paddle to human propelled.
And we definitely want to thank Mr. Johnny Mounts for asking us to get
absolutely,
involved with
man.
that, and all
He
the
was
support
on it
he's
right
given
off the
us
get-go.
out here. Johnny's been a big figure for us at the weigh-ins and things like that. He's made his own
Been a
personal
huge
appearance
supporter.
on his own personal time, and he's fighting the battle with us, folks.
He's been a huge supporter for us.
Let me
the
tell
whole
you
time.
something. If you always wonder what your delegates are doing, just go up there and sit in there one day, and they give you a whole new appreciation for what they do.
Right.
I couldn't do it. I can tell you that.
I mean, I think the delegates don't get anywhere near the kind of money the people up the line get.
Well,
you know what I mean?
but just
And they
the
do a
time.
lot of that footwork. That's what I'm saying. They do a lot of footwork, a lot of dogging. You know what I mean? A lot of contact, a lot of writing. So
Yeah.
thank you, delegates.
Absolutely. So one other thing before we get into the tournaments and everything, guy who fished in our tournaments last year, he didn't get to fish until the 4th tournament, but he had a pretty good showing, Mr. Tom.
Oh, yeah,
So-
Mr. Tom, National Wildlife Turkey Federation. Now, Don's got some involvement with that, too.
Absolutely.
So so why don't you go ahead, Don, and bring us up on that?
So the National Wild Turkey Federation Free State Chapter, Tom's one of our good customers, and we support him. We do a lot of donations to him. I told him this year we were talking about doing a Snakehead Tournament, and Tommy's always got the wheels turning.
He does.
And he sat there and he said, okay. He goes, let me know. Very next day he comes back. He goes, all right. He goes, you want to be a weigh-in station? I'm like, what are we doing? So what the National Wild Turkey Federation Free State Chapter is doing is April 1st to October 1st, you're going to have 3 weigh-in stations. Autumn Sky Outfitters is going to be one. Wolford Store is going to be one. And there's going to be one in Southern Maryland. I'm not sure of the name yet. Take your biggest.
Is that going to be on the west side, you mean?
No, down in Southern Maryland, he's going to have a weigh-in too. I don't know.
Around, I'm not exactly sure where, but he said last I talked to Tom, he said he's still working on who he's going to work with.
But that's Western Shore side,
Yes,
right?
yes,
That's
yeah.
what I'm trying to say. So we'll have
Yeah,
somebody on the Western
Southern-
Shore, somebody up the top, and then we'll have somebody over here. So we've got
exactly,
all the corners covered, right?
Wolford
Okay.
Store would be like
Okay,
the Eastern Shore, would be
Gotcha.
Northwest, and they would be Southwest. So what they're doing is only entry fee into this tournament is you have to be a National Wild Turkey Federation member. So go join.
This is a great way to get people to join.
Yeah, and it's a membership drive. So what they're doing is you bring in your biggest fish through that time, whether it's hook and line, bow fishing.
What were the dates again?
April 1st to October 1st.
I think that's what it was.
Yep. So it's hook and line or bow fishing, biggest fish that gets brought in, and he's doing it fair. I think he told me he's going to buy three the same scales, so we all have the same scales. We all do it the same. Biggest fish is going to get a $500 cash prize.
So this tournament's going on weight.
I think weight and length is what he told me.
Okay.
That's pretty much what he does, like with his deer contest, is width and number of points. But with the snakeheads, length and weight. And then if that fish breaks the state record, it'll be another $500 cash bonus
Dang,
on
so
top
you
of
win
that.
$1,000 to catch a fish.
If you catch a snakehead and break the state record, you're walking away with
And it won't
$1,000.
matter if it's caught in the tournament either.
I'm not sure. I haven't asked Tom about that.
I
can't see where it
don't
would.
see where it is.
I don't see why it wouldn't.
I
Yeah.
mean,
You mean our tournaments as far as I don't see
I mean, if it's a state record, especially. Is it?
Yeah, exactly.
you're
not
gonna
gonna change the fact
you're
it's
gonna
called
hear about
tournament.
it. I talked to him the other day. He said he should have posters and all real soon for that.
Great.
But yeah, we were kind of excited to deal with that. And,
Absolutely.
That's awesome stuff, man.
Tom's a good guy.
He's got
Tom's
that.
a
He
really
wears
good
that crazy hat. You ever seen him wears that crazy hat? He always wears that little yellow. I love that hat.
It's the visor with the fake hair on it. and
I could see him a mile away. Like, there's Tommy over there. You know.
Yep. I mean, and even like he's all about it. That's all he does. And when turkey season comes, he's turkey hunting just about every day. Sick of deer. He's sick of deer. I mean, whether it's deep sea fishing, tuna, or he is all about it.
And snakehead tournament.
Yeah.
Snakehead tournaments.
too.
He didn't join our tournaments until the last one, and I wish he'd have been there for all 4 of them because man, he was fun to be around.
He'll
He's a
be
good
back
guy.
here this year. What did he get the end of the year? He got something big. He won.
He won the raffle, yeah.
Yes, it was the raffle. He
Yeah.
won the whole raffle, man. We got to get that set up again this year too. We're gonna do that again. So anybody out there wants to do anything to the raffle, start sending them in now. I'm always selling something. I know.
No, not Kaz. So Kaz, why don't you tell everybody about the festival?
Okay, so April 4th, we're going to have the first annual Maryland Snakehead Festival. I know you're all going to be there, and we're going to have a lot of people coming. You're going to pay $5 to get in, correct, Eddie? And you're going to also
Except for kids 12 and under, they're
except for
free.
kids 12 and under, they're free. And with the paid, your paid entry or whatever, you're going to get some snakehead nuggets to chew on, so you can sample snakeheads and see if you like them, or if you want to really start fishing for that exclusively. And then once you eat them once, I know you'll be an exclusive snakehead fisherman after that. So, what else? We're going to have lots of seminars going on through the day. We're going to be giving away door prizes every 15 minutes about. Okay?
I hope so.
Oh, we will. I ain't worried about that. Shit, I'll put my own in there. The ones we ain't got one. So.
We're also going to have the casting
Yep,
contest.
the casting contest.
And then we're going to have some face painting for the kids.
Yeah.
And we're in the booth, we're in the works for something a little
Do
crazy.
you want me to tell them?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so look, we were going to do maybe something really, really crazy. We got to give Kevin Hogan a little props here for this, okay?
We're still working out the details.
Still working out the details. So we're going to have an axe throwing booth where you're going to be able to sit there and throw axes at a snakehead target. So, you whack them in the head. I don't know, maybe we'll give you a little prize or something. I'm sure we'll have some
figure
little
something
kind of
out, yeah.
contest going
We're still
on
working
with it.
out. We're still working out the details, but it's almost guaranteed that
It's
booth
all
will be there.
look, folks. It's all safe. It ain't going to be on a stage thrown
No.
out towards the public. It's all enclosed. One person in there with one hatchet at the snakehead. So little kids outside, everybody's safe. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's going to be cool. We're going to line up hopefully some music too, maybe somewhere in there. I like that guy, DJ Paul. I've been talking to him a little bit on the side. I've been pumping him. DJ Pumping Paul.
The live shows every night.
Yeah.
Every night.
So there's your shout out, Pumping Paul. Let me think of. I think that about covers everything. I don't know. Can you think of anything else? We're gonna have the seminars. We're gonna be talking about kayaks. We're gonna have the DNR, U.S. Fish and Wildlife. They're gonna have live fish
snakeheads,
on display.
DNR will have live
That's gonna be
snakeheads in the
cool.
tank.
So
Because
and no,
we
we
couldn't
can't
do
bow
that.
shoot them.
We'll have kayak selection.
Yes.
Oh,
Yep.
you're gonna have a good kayak selection there. I can guarantee you that.
Yep.
I'm thinking, you know what I'm thinking? Might even want to maybe talk to him about maybe giving him something somewhere for like maybe some bows or something to talk about. That's one thing I did want to touch on. I forgot totally all about that. So let me jump back to you and Autumn Sky Outfitters. Bows for bow fishing. You got them.
Oh, we got them.
Okay. So folks,
We got everything.
Yeah. So he's really opening the market up there on the bows and what's available as far as products. And make sure that get in touch with Don if you want to get involved with this bow fishing. It's a lot of fun. Man, you can go on any bridge you want to, sit there with your bow and shoot them right off a bridge, day or night, doesn't matter. So
And you don't need a hunting license.
Right.
you got to have the $15 bow stamp there, right?
No.
You don't have to buy that anymore.
Nope. Just gotta have a fishing license.
Yeah, it's the same as fishing.
So fresh or brackish doesn't matter. You're all freshwater up your way.
Yeah, we're all freshwater, but I think when we did the bow fishing trip down the beach, the boat had a license. So
I think, from my understanding, is you still have to have. So
You-
the way Maryland is set up, you have your bay and coastal, which is basically tidal waters,
Right.
and then you have your non-tidal license. I think you have to have the correct license for the waters you're shooting in. Still.
And you have to have one for ocean too, which is salt, which
Salt.
is separate from
Right,
the
right.
bay and
Right.
tidal, I believe.
So
Okay, so now let's talk about some tournaments. We've got some really good news here about the tournaments. We've got 3 pretty much now set in stone. Okay, the first one we're going to do the 16th. That's going to be here at Blackwater. Okay,
16th of what?
May 16th.
May 16th. I'm sorry.
Okay. Sorry.
And that'll be here, and Wayne will be here at the Wolford store, and same deals last year, but we're only doing one day this year. We heard you, we listened, so we made some adjustments. You guys said last year, Kaz, it's a lot to cover 2 days driving back and forth from over in the Potomac River area to come over there to just fish for a day. So we heard you, we listened, so we're going to do 1 day tournaments this year. So the second tournament, we're going to do June 20th, and West Side Snacks, Roy Boyd's going to do that one, and we're going to, we're all going to be doing this together.
And that's going to be where?
Bush River.
Yep.
And we're thinking, I haven't ironed out all the details yet. We're either going to put in at Flying Point or we're going to put in at Flying Point Marina or Flying Point Park. So the third tournament, ready for this one? It's going to be real good. Susquehanna River Basin, we'll call it. And Don has graciously agreed that Autumn Sky Outfitters would love to co-host tournament with us. So July 18th is the date and market, and we're going to start putting details together for that.
Yep.
Thinking the same thing as far as entry fees last year, $50 in the tournament, and then what we'll do, like maybe some $5 cow cutters, some $10 cow cutters somewhere. Or
We're
something
still
like
working that out.
So we're going to iron it all out. It's going to be a point system tournament, but we'll have everything ready to go here.
So we're going to be setting everything up very similar to last year's
Yes.
tournaments. Like Kaz said, we have the 3 dates knocked out now. We still have 3 more we're going to work through.
Well, we have the third one will be back here, so we're going
Right.
to need August and September. So August is open and August is open and September is open. I'd really like to try to get one more somewhere over there and maybe one more over here.
Yep.
Maybe Chop Tank. I mean, we could go,
Yeah.
hard to say. Chester River. I mean, we'll look into some options there, but I'd like to really do that August tournament or the September tournament somewhere over there, and then we'll come back here in October for our classic,
Right.
where we will crown our Angler of the Year and our champion, and they will get the most, pardon my French, baddest ass prize I ever seen. I don't think ass is really a bad word.
Not nowadays.
No, not in today's world anyway.
Yeah, you can even say that on TV.
So that will be in October is the last tournament.
Yeah, and we haven't ironed those dates out yet.
No.
So August, September, and October to be announced.
So
but,
we as soon as we get all this all these details ironed out, we're going to have all this on the Blackwaters Edge website, the Facebook page, snakeheadlife.com.
I don't
everywhere.
think people realize how freaking busy we are here.
my
You know what I mean?
goodness.
With everything, So
Yeah, we are all over the place.
just trust me, we're doing the best we can to keep you all updated and stay on top of everything.
Kaz, any one more this week?
Did we mention bow fishing category?
Oh, not for the tournaments. We haven't.
Yeah,
but-
so we're gonna have the bow fishing category in there. We're trying to iron those details out too. How we're gonna handle that with night fishing and
Right.
day fishing.
The reason we haven't ironed out all the details on that is because last year, with it being a 2-day tournament, we let people basically bow fish overnight.
Right.
And so with this year, with it being only a 1-day tournament, we're still trying to figure out the details.
how
on
to stay within that 24-hour.
How to keep everything as fair as possible between the hook and line and the bow fish, and keep it as fair as possible around while still allowing the bow fishermen to get their best opportunity during the night.
I had a little thought, and I was thinking 12 hours bow fishing, 12 hours fishing. 12 to 12 for the bow fishermen, and maybe 12 or 5 to 5 for the hook and line guy. Something like that. I mean, there's a lot. We got to iron it out. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. But anybody out there that has any ideas, throw them at us.
Yeah, we're always open to suggestions, and we're very open to suggestions.
You're damn right.
So, Kaz, one more?
Nah, I think I'm pretty good on one more. Don, if yes,
One more.
one more. We didn't talk a lot about the snakehead fishing that's going on up there, and I know that a lot of these guys are on Facebook saying we don't have any big fish up here yet. We don't have any dragons around here. There's no numbers here. We're not seeing any kind of numbers coming up. Now, look, you're up there. You see, and let's be honest. Let's be on the page. Let's talk about what the guys are shooting at night, how big these fish are, how many they're fishing, and then let's see how many guys want to come on the podcast and say, there's no snakeheads up here.
I can guarantee you 100% they are there. I've seen some bow fishing guys load the boat with snakeheads.
Big fish.
Yeah, I mean, anywhere from your average size to big fish. I've heard rumors of a 10-pounder coming out of Joppatown. So, I mean, they're up there. It's getting more and more popular. I mean, I had guys catching them up in Deer Creek last year. Everybody's like,
I know.
Deer Creek, guys are like, we want minnows. We want minnows. We just caught a snakehead. We want minnows. So, yeah, they're definitely there. Not quite as big as some of the ones you see down here, but I mean, it's going to take time and
numbers wise. How many did you see guys catching 3 years ago? This is where I tell people to look at what you're seeing somewhere. If you see a guy that had pictures 3 years ago that had 1, and next year he's got 10, and next year he's got 30, what do you see as far as how do I want to word that? Do you think the numbers are growing?
Oh, definitely. I'd say the guy that's probably that's doing good numbers. Probably 3 years ago, he would shoot 5 to 10 a night. Now he's shooting 50 or 60. So they're there. Even in like the fish lifts at the dam.
Oh, I know.
A couple years ago, they had maybe 4 or 5. I think this year at one time they had 80 or 90.
Yeah, they had a bunch this year.
They got a bunch.
I talked to some guys this year above the dam that were fishing some of the coves close to the dam, we'll say. And I knew one guy caught a snakehead that was 11 pounds in Conowingo Creek. And that's up there a little bit further. But
yeah, it's not that far.
I know, but I'm
It's
just
not
saying,
that
so
far.
we know they're getting up, and we know they're growing. I don't know if it's true or not, so if anybody out there can confirm it, I heard that they caught one at Peach Bottom in the warm water. So if
I
anybody
heard
knows that, fill me in on that.
I mean, Eddie, you're a businessman. I'm a businessman. They're there to the point where I'll put a snakehead section in.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, that's what everybody's talking about.
It changed my whole tackle section here.
Well, yeah.
Before snakehead showed up, all I had was stuff for rockfish, basically for people going out in the bay.
Right.
I catch them on the way to Taylor's Island boat ramp.
Yeah.
And that's everything I had was for rockfish. A little bit for perch, a little bit for crappie and things like that.
Well, I mean, our big thing is the shad run.
Right,
But,
exactly,
But
yep.
yeah, we did shad darts and all that. But then I went to ICAST just past year, and that's what I went for, strictly snakehead stuff. And I was looking for off the wall stuff that made noise, that moved water.
The crazier the bait, man, the more they want it. You know, man? Like, I'm getting ready to make this one that looks like a star.
Hey.
And then it's got legs on each of the stars, and then it's got a light that lights up on top, and it floats and does circles on the top. It's battery operated. So
Weighs 17 pounds.
I brought
Use a car battery.
I'm trying to think of the name. I brought one in. It was from Chase Baits.
Yes, I've seen the chase baits.
God, what is the name of the thing? But anyway, it's a bird. It's a top water bird.
Yes, I've seen it. Yes, I've seen it.
Floaters.
I got one. I got them, and I promise you, I will catch a fish on that bait this year.
So are you saying you're not selling them until you catch one? Because
No.
if they catch, you're going to want them all for yourself?
Nope.
Oh, so you're not like
Hey.
me at all.
Hey, Eddie will tell you everything's for sale.
That's exactly right. Everything
my
has
mom.
a price.
Well, yeah. I got.
Or my dog.
You know how many times I've ordered a kayak? I've ordered a kayak and never got to set it up because I ended up selling it. I got one now sitting on the front.
Eddie had one out in the trailer. Been sitting there. How many years is that thing in there?
Yeah, that was a while.
A couple of years.
Yeah,
You know what
I got
mean?
one sitting on the front porch now. That's mine. I'm waiting for the wrap to be designed for it, and it'll probably get this.
Are you
get
going to
sold.
put some snake skin on your wrap?
No, it'll be for the shop. You know, it'll match the truck and
There you go.
and all that. But so I mean, what I do want to say is, up until last year, everybody knew us as an archery shop. I mean, we were strictly archery and waterfowl. Now we've kind of, since I took over, you can't do that just with archery no more. So we are becoming that one-stop shop for the fishing guy, the kayak guy, the waterfowl, the deer hunting, predator hunting, whatever hunting you can do or fishing, we got it or we can get it. And for the guys down here that can't make that 2.5 hour drive and they want to check us out, we do have an online store. We can ship it right to you.
Or I can drive up and bring it right back. I can be a delivery boy, man.
Yeah.
I'll run back up and grab it. Hey, man.
He sounds like a Hartford County Wolford store without the cheesesteaks.
Hey, we can ship cheesesteaks north, and I'll bring the baits back.
There you go. The old owner refers to me now as the Mollies of Hartford County. but yeah. So
You've done good. I mean, just in a little bit of time I've seen you and being in Hartford County and getting the opportunity to meet you last year and talk out there at the Howard County show. And folks, don't forget, we're going to be back out there again this year.
Yep.
It'll be me, Eddie, and Gary, and we're also going to have in tote with us U.S. Fish and Wildlife, Mr. Josh Newhart, and we're also going to have Maryland Department of Natural Resources, Dr. Joseph Love with us on hand, and we will be out there at that, what's it called? What's it? The
Maryland Sportsman
Maryland
Show.
Sportsman Show. So we'll be out there. You'll be out there again?
Yep, we'll
Good.
be out there. We'll be in the same spot we were last year. Big 20x20 booth as soon as you walk in the door. And Chris from Big Bass is going to be right beside us, working with us.
very good.
You know, we're kind of working with each other right now. We want to see this grow, especially with the kayak fishing is really taking off. I mean,
agree.
Chris has
Yes, it has.
Chris has touched base on this. So you know, you kind of got to jump aboard while you can.
That's what I tell people. You know, if you're waiting to get in this snakehead business and you've stalled, you're
already
late.
late.
You're late. I mean,
Oh, I'm late.
Chris will tell you. I mean, all the shows we've done over the last years, the last five years, I've been saying every show, man, Snake, I bought this domain, I bought this domain, I bought this domain, I bought this. And he's like, what are you buying? I said, man, it's going to be big one day. You watch, it's going to be big one day. It's coming, man. I don't think anybody, like everybody thought I just was nuts, man. Like I was
Well,
just
you
so
are nuts.
obsessive. I know that. But I mean, like I was real obsessive in the beginning about what I thought was going to happen. I made it a point to tell everybody, they're like, dude, get away from me, man. I'm just, you know. So.
I'm not gonna lie. I met you last year. You're like, hey, you got to do a snakehead. I mean, you come up to me and it's like, pow, and I'm like,
Kapow!
I'm like, okay, and but no, and then and then I became friends with Chris and got to know you and followed you, and you haven't steered me wrong.
A one day at a time opportunity to improve the quality of our lives. That's all I want in life.
That's exactly
it.
right.
So that's all about taking advantage of an opportunity.
Anybody else got any one more?
Well, we've got next week. We've got Marsha from
Marsha
Blackwater
from
coming
US
on.
Fit. Yep.
So
Blackwaters
we're
coming.
we're looking into trying to have the podcast go live. So I'm working on the technicalities of that right now.
So they can call and I can talk to them?
Possibly.
I can sing songs to them?
No.
No,
So
that was in stereo.
so if we can get that to go live, it's going to be we'd be going live on Tuesday. Marsha will be here Tuesday next week.
Right.
So we will be announcing over the weekend if we can get that worked out. So and the exact date. So if you have questions for Marsha, you can just comment in or call in. One or the other. We're
Did we
working
tell
on
who Marsha is?
Yeah, Marsha from
Yeah,
Blackwater.
yeah,
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so
She's a-
Blackwater National Wildlife Refuge,
Yep.
Marsha, you know, she handles a lot of the stuff that goes on over there, and she's a very good connection for us to try to relay any kind of things that you might want to say to Blackwater.
Do we ever ask if there's anybody that people want or like to hear on the podcast? Let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys have any suggestions for a guest for the podcast, we would love to hear it. We're here for you guys. We want to make sure you're getting what you want out of this.
Johnny Mounts, I want to have you in here one day.
That'd be a fantastic person to have in here. So I think that about covers everything this week.
So we need to dress to impress then if we're going to be live on Tuesday. That means I have to go get a haircut.
I'd recommend it. So,
Been recommended for a month now.
I do got one thing. I'm just sitting here thinking. Yeah, one of the first things I remember about Kaz was the crab song.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So why doesn't the podcast have the Snakehead song? I mean, come on, man, you're slacking.
So for those of us that I have been talking to, like my close guys, I know I've been talking about writing a Snakehead rap, like the guy Adam J kind of does on his Facebook thing with all the fishing songs. You know what I mean? So I asked Eddie and Gary to be part of that, and they're like, No. Now just think it. Now, do you ever tell Eddie and Gary how cool this would be just to do some off the wall jingle about snakeheads, to see these two guys popping up behind me like this, like that, like this, you know, singing and stuff? That would be great, wouldn't it?
In the MC Hammer pants.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't touch
this. I've been cranking that at night the last 3 days, believe it or not.
Oh my goodness.
DJ Pumpin' Paul had it going on the other night
Yes,
too.
he did. So I think that about covers everything now.
We're done.
So for Don,
Let's see how many people comment on that. See how many likes we get on the phone.
for Don, Gary, Kaz, myself, thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week.